Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Thursday, June 22nd. I'm Julie Chang for the Wall Street Journal, filling in for Zoe Thomas. Snap is unsurprisingly making moves in the artificial intelligence space. In fact, its CEO says Snapchat users' embrace of AI could improve targeted advertising. Evan Spiegel sat down with WSJ reporter Sam Schechner to talk about AI and more at a Journal House event this week during the Cannes Lions International Festival. Here are highlights from their conversation.
Thank you, Evan, for being here. So I think we got to start with the ad market. It was pretty bleak for a while there. There have been big cuts in the tech sector. Then again, some folks are seeing signs of a turnaround. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so I think we're certainly not out of the woods yet, but the economy is more resilient than we expected. For example, in the United States, the consumer is still doing quite well, but businesses are experiencing a lot of cost pressures. I don't think those have abated, and so a lot of our advertising partners are very focused on efficiency, which is why we have been investing so heavily in our performance advertising platform. We've made a lot of changes. For example, improving the way people interact with ads and unifying ad interactions on our platform, improving the post-click experience, for example, and things like autofill which help with lead generation. And then, of course, rolling out much larger models that use a lot more data to show the right ad to the right person.
So let's dig a little bit into AI. You launched an AI-powered chatbot, My AI, in Snapchat. It's widely available. I mean, you've had some 150 million people interacting with it. Is AI going to restack the tech industry?
I don't know about restack the tech industry. I think the big recent breakthrough with large language models has really changed the interaction paradigm or the user interface for computers and actually made it a lot more natural and easy to use. And I think it's part of that evolution from the command line to the graphical user interface to now conversational AI, which is a totally familiar way to interact with computers. So we're really excited. 150 million people have used My AI since we launched it, I think about 2 months ago. They've sent over 10 billion messages about all sorts of things. I think there's been like 5 million conversations about McDonald's, tens of millions of conversations about cars and recommendations around what car to buy. So we're really excited to see that engagement. There's a great story we heard from someone in our community who used My AI to learn how to ask their boss for a raise. So they practiced talking back and forth and ended up getting an extra $5 an hour. So that was, I think, a very helpful way that My AI, is helping our community.
I mean, just as an example of how that restacking might happen, Google for a long time has had, in some ways, the inside track on intent signals. Now that you have this window of people are talking about McDonald's, people are talking about cars, does that help make up for the lack of the app tracking data, or does that help even gain a step on search for you?
Yeah, My AI definitely helps provide a privacy-safe intent signal. When people are communicating with My AI, we can then use those insights to help improve recommendations across our platform, whether those are augmented reality experiences or the content people watch, and of course advertising as well. In terms of your question around restacking, I think philosophically, what we're really paying attention to is that a lot of software business models today are predicated on humans using software. Right, and that's typically how people charge for software on a per-seat basis. I think what's really fascinating about large language models is that increasingly AI is going to use software on your behalf. And I think that'll create a lot of opportunities in software, but it also could be quite disruptive for business models that are predicated on humans using software a lot.
What's your view of the collective psyche from what people have been chatting about? I mean, beyond just, talking about McDonald's, like what kinds of things, what kinds of conversations are people getting into with your tool?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people are using it as a creative tool. So, for example, I had to give a speech at Miranda's cousin's wedding, and on the way to the wedding, I took the speech I drafted and I dropped it into My AI, asked for some feedback and recommendations, had some great ones. I asked it to integrate those recommendations and rewrite it for me, and then sent it back to me. And I was able to make a couple tweaks to make it a little bit more my own, but I actually really valued the feedback I got. So I think as a creative tool and a way to get inspiration, it's very helpful.
Your choice to put a chatbot in the hands of, say, a 13-year-old old enough to sign up for a social media service has been controversial. How do you handle that?
I think first and foremost, we started by rolling out to a very, very small audience, just of Snapchat Plus subscribers. And we used that as an opportunity to learn about how the chatbot was working and when it was breaking. And that's how we started incorporating things like age signals. So letting the chatbot know the age of the person that they're communicating with to provide a more age-appropriate experience. We also created things like a timeout, for example. So if we see people, misusing our service, we just stop responding. The chatbot stops responding to them, and all that's possible because we store all the communications that people have with our AI chatbot, so we can monitor them to make sure that the responses conform with our guidelines. And what we found is that more than 99.5% of all of my AI responses conform with our community guidelines. And in fact, anecdotally, when we look at the way that our community is communicating with my AI, we find that people are the ones who are saying much more inappropriate things than the chatbot itself.
Evan, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a really interesting conversation.
Thank you so much.
And that is it for today's Tech News Briefing. For more tech stories, check out our website, WSJ.com. I'm Julie Chang for the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.